What happens when Hollywood royalty walks onto a morning talk show stage expecting respect and walks off in the middle of a live broadcast? In just 42 seconds, one dismissive comment from a host spiraled into the most shocking exit in daytime television history. Jamie Foxx arrived at the Today Show studio that morning ready to promote his latest film. The energy backstage was light. He shook hands with crew members, laughed with makeup artists, and seemed genuinely excited to be there. The cameras weren't rolling yet, but everyone could feel the positive vibe radiating from the Oscar winner. This was supposed to be easy, a quick chat, some laughs, a movie clip, and he'd be on his way. But the moment Savannah Guthrie sat down across from him at that iconic desk, something shifted. The red light blinked on. They were live. Savannah opened with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. So Jamie, welcome back. I have to say, we're all a little surprised you agreed to come on today. Jamie's eyebrows raised slightly. He kept his smile, though you could see confusion flickering across his face. Surprised? Why would you be surprised? Savannah leaned back in her chair, crossing her arms. Well, given your recent projects and some of the criticism you've been facing, I just figured you might want to lay low for a while. The other panel members, Hoda Kotb and Craig Melvin, exchanged quick glances. Hoda's smile froze. Craig looked down at his notes. Jamie laughed, but it was the kind of laugh that comes when you're trying to figure out if someone's joking. Criticism? I mean, every artist faces criticism, Savannah. That's part of the job. But I wouldn't say I need to lay low. I'm proud of the work I'm doing. Savannah waved her hand dismissively. Sure. But let's be honest here. Your last 3 films underperformed at the box office. The reviews weren't exactly glowing. Don't you think at some point you have to wonder if maybe you're just not connecting with audiences anymore? The studio went quiet. You could hear the cameras adjusting their focus. Somewhere in the back, a producer whispered urgently into a headset. Jamie's smile faded. He sat up straighter. Not connecting with audiences? Savannah, I've been in this industry for over 30 years. I've won an Oscar. I've done comedy, drama, music. I think my track record speaks for itself. Hoda jumped in, trying to smooth things over. Jamie, we're so excited about your new movie. Can you tell us a bit about your character? But Savannah wasn't done. She turned to Hoda with an icy look. Hoda, I'm in the middle of something here. Then back to Jamie. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You keep living in the past. Oscar this, 30 years that. What have you done lately that actually matters? Craig shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Savannah, maybe we should... Craig, please, Savannah snapped. I'm asking legitimate questions here. Questions our viewers want answered. Jamie took a deep breath. You could see him collecting himself, choosing his words carefully. Savannah, I don't know what's going on here or what kind of interview you think this is, but I came here in good faith. I came here to talk about a project I'm passionate about, to connect with people who might enjoy the film. I didn't come here to be disrespected. Savannah laughed. Actually laughed. Disrespected? Oh, come on, Jamie. You're a big boy. You can handle a few tough questions. Or are you so used to everyone kissing up to you that you forgot what real journalism looks like? Hoda put her hand on Savannah's arm. Maybe we should take a different approach here. Savannah shook her off. No, Hoda. I'm tired of these celebrity interviews where we just lob softballs and pretend everything is perfect. Jamie Foxx is sitting here acting like he's still on top of the world when the numbers tell a completely different story. Jamie stood up. The microphone pack on his belt pulled at the wire. You know what? I don't need this. Savannah's eyes went wide with mock surprise. Oh, what? You're leaving? Can't handle a little heat? This isn't heat, Jamie said, his voice calm but firm. This is just rude. There's a difference between asking tough questions and being disrespectful. You've crossed that line. Craig stood up too, reaching out toward Jamie. Jamie, listen, why don't we just reset? Start over. But Jamie was already unhooking his microphone. Craig, I appreciate that, man. I really do. But I'm not going to sit here and let someone talk to me like I'm nothing. Like everything I've accomplished means nothing. Savannah leaned forward, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Everything you've accomplished? You mean the string of mediocre movies? The failed television projects? The desperate attempts to stay relevant? The room gasped. Actual audible gasps from the crew. Hoda stood up quickly. Savannah, that's enough. That's way over the line. Savannah turned on Hoda. Stay out of this, Hoda. You always do this. Always trying to play peacemaker. Sometimes people need to hear the truth. Jamie was at the edge of the set now, but he stopped and turned back. You want to talk about truth, Savannah? Here's some truth for you. I came here today to talk about a film that I poured my heart into. A film that tells an important story. A film that actually means something. But instead of having a conversation about that, you decided to turn this into some kind of ambush. And for what? Ratings? To make yourself feel important? Savannah stood up from behind the desk. You don't get to lecture me about what's important. I've been doing this job for years. I know how to conduct an interview. This isn't an interview, Jamie shot back. This is an attack, and I'm not going to be a part of it. Craig tried again. Jamie, please, let's just talk this through. Jamie looked at Craig, and his expression softened just a bit. Craig, you're a good dude, but I can't do this. I won't do this. My mother didn't raise me to sit there and let someone disrespect me on national television. Savannah scoffed. Oh, here we go. Bringing your mother into it. That's rich. Jamie's jaw tightened. That comment hit different. You could see it in his eyes. Excuse me? I'm just saying, Savannah continued, clearly not reading the room. It's always the same with you celebrity types. The moment someone challenges you, you get all emotional and dramatic. Bringing up your mother, talking about being disrespected. Just answer the questions like an adult. Hoda stepped between them. Savannah, stop. Right now. This is completely inappropriate. But Savannah pushed forward. Inappropriate? What's inappropriate is Jamie here thinking he can just waltz in here, plug his little movie, and waltz out without answering real questions about his declining career. Jamie shook his head slowly. You know what the saddest part of this is? I actually used to respect you as a journalist. I used to think you asked tough but fair questions. But this isn't journalism. This is cruelty disguised as journalism. A producer appeared from off camera, trying to signal for a commercial break, but Savannah ignored them. Cruelty? Savannah's voice went up an octave. You want to see cruelty? Cruelty is making your fans sit through terrible movies just because your name is on the poster. Cruelty is wasting everyone's time pretending you're still the same caliber of actor you were 20 years ago. The studio fell into a stunned silence. Even the camera operators seemed frozen. Jamie picked up his jacket from the back of the chair. He moved slowly, deliberately, with dignity. I'm done here. Not because I can't handle tough questions, not because I'm running away from anything, but because I have too much self-respect to continue this conversation. Craig walked around the desk. Jamie, man, I'm really sorry about this. Jamie nodded at Craig. I know you are. You're a class act, Craig. Hoda, you too. You both tried to keep this professional. Then he looked at Savannah. But you should be ashamed of yourself. Savannah rolled her eyes. Oh, please, save the moral superiority for your next interview, if you can get one after walking out on this one. Hoda turned to Savannah, her voice sharp. What is wrong with you today? This is completely out of line, even for you. Savannah whipped around to face Hoda. Don't start with me, Hoda. You've always had a soft spot for these Hollywood types, always making excuses for them. Making excuses? Hoda's voice rose. I'm trying to maintain some level of professionalism on this show, something you clearly forgot how to do. Jamie was almost to the studio exit now. A crew member opened the door for him, but before he walked through, he turned back one more time. You know, Savannah, I feel sorry for you. I really do. Because somewhere along the way, you forgot what this job is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about connecting with people, having real conversations, finding the human story. But you've turned it into a blood sport. And that's sad. That's really sad. Savannah stepped forward. Don't you dare feel sorry for me. I'm doing just fine. Can you say the same? Jamie smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who just realized they were having an argument with someone who would never understand. Yeah, Savannah, I can. Because at the end of the day, I can look at myself in the mirror and know that I treat people with respect. I don't tear them down to build myself up. I don't use my platform to hurt people. Can you say the same? Craig put his hand on Jamie's shoulder. Let me walk you out, brother. As Craig and Jamie headed for the exit, Savannah called out after them. That's right. Run away. That's what you do best, isn't it, Jamie? Run away when things get tough. Jamie stopped. He didn't turn around this time. He just stood there for a moment, his back to the set. Then he kept walking. Hoda turned to Savannah, her face flushed with anger. I cannot believe you just did that. Do you have any idea what you've done? Savannah sat back down at the desk, straightening her papers. I did my job, Hoda. I asked the questions that needed to be asked. Questions? Hoda was incredulous. Those weren't questions. That was a character assassination. That was mean-spirited and unprofessional and completely uncalled for. The producer rushed onto the set. We need to go to commercial. Now. But Savannah held up her hand. No, we're not going to commercial. We're going to address what just happened here. The producer looked panicked. Savannah, we really need to... I said no, Savannah snapped. Everyone just saw what happened. Jamie Foxx walked off our set because he couldn't handle a few hard questions. The audience deserves to know why. Hoda stood up. That's not what happened, and you know it. You attacked him. You questioned his entire career, his relevance, his worth as an artist. You made it personal. Savannah's face hardened. It is personal. These celebrities come on our show expecting us to fawn all over them. Well, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to ask the real questions. Craig had returned to the set. His usually calm demeanor was cracked. Savannah, what you just did had nothing to do with real questions. That was an ambush, pure and simple. Savannah looked at both of them. I can't believe you two are taking his side. We're not taking sides, Hoda said. We're trying to tell you that what you did was wrong. As journalists, as human beings, we're supposed to treat our guests with a baseline level of respect, even when we're asking tough questions. The producer tried again. Please, we really need to cut to commercial. This time Savannah didn't argue. As the cameras cut away, she sat at the desk, her arms crossed, defiant. Hoda leaned down, her voice low but intense. I've worked with you for years, Savannah, and I've never seen you act like this. What happened out there was unacceptable. You humiliated a guest on live television. Savannah looked up at her. He humiliated himself by walking out. He stood up for himself, Craig interjected. There's a difference. You backed him into a corner and then acted shocked when he refused to stay there. Savannah gathered her papers. You two are overreacting. This is going to blow over. By tomorrow, no one will even remember this happened. Hoda shook her head. You really believe that? You just burned a bridge with one of the biggest names in Hollywood, on live television. People are going to remember this. The commercial break was ending. The floor director counted them down. 5, 4, 3. When the cameras came back on, Savannah's face was composed, professional, as if the last 15 minutes hadn't happened. Welcome back to today. We're going to continue with our next segment, but Hoda interrupted her. Actually, Savannah, I think we need to address what just happened before the break. Savannah's smile tightened. Hoda, I don't think that's necessary. I do, Hoda said firmly. Our viewers deserve an explanation. Craig nodded. I agree. Savannah looked between them, realizing she was outnumbered. Fine. What happened is that Jamie Foxx chose to walk off our set rather than engage in a substantive conversation about his career. Hoda's eyes widened. That's your take on what happened. That's what happened, Savannah insisted. No, Hoda said, turning to the camera. What happened is that our guest was subjected to a line of questioning that crossed the line from journalism into personal attacks. And I want to apologize to Jamie Foxx and to our viewers for that. Savannah turned to her, shocked. You're apologizing? For what? For not stepping in sooner, Hoda said. For letting it go as far as it did. Craig nodded in agreement. Jamie Foxx came here to talk about his new film. He came here in good faith. And instead of having a respectful conversation, even a challenging one, he was attacked. That's not what we're about on this show. Savannah's face flushed red. I cannot believe you two are doing this. You're undermining me on live television. You undermined yourself, Hoda said quietly, the moment you decided to turn an interview into an interrogation. The producer was frantically signaling from off camera, but no one was paying attention anymore. Savannah stood up abruptly. You know what? If you two want to run this show, be my guests. I'm taking a break. She pulled off her microphone and walked off the set, leaving Hoda and Craig sitting there, stunned. The cameras kept rolling. Hoda and Craig looked at each other, then at the camera. Craig took a deep breath. Well, this is certainly not how we expected this morning to go. Hoda tried to smile, but it was shaky. No, it certainly isn't. They tried to transition to the next segment, but the energy was completely off. The professional veneer had been shattered. What was supposed to be a simple celebrity interview had turned into a full-scale meltdown on live television. Backstage, Jamie was in the green room, packing up his things. A production assistant knocked softly on the door. Mr. Foxx, I just wanted to say that I'm really sorry about what happened out there. That wasn't right. Jamie looked up and gave her a tired smile. Thank you. I appreciate that. For what it's worth, she continued, everyone back here is on your side. What she did was completely out of line. Jamie nodded. I just don't understand it. I've done hundreds of interviews. Thousands, probably. I've had people ask me tough questions before. That's fine. That's their job. But what happened out there? That wasn't about asking tough questions. That was about tearing me down. The production assistant nodded sympathetically. I know, and I'm sorry you had to experience that. Jamie finished packing his bag. You know what the worst part is? I was actually excited to be here. I love this show. Or at least, I used to. As Jamie headed toward the exit, crew members stopped him to apologize, to tell him they were fans, to let him know that what happened wasn't representative of the show. And Jamie, despite everything, took the time to thank each one of them, to shake their hands, to maintain his grace under pressure. Because that's who Jamie Foxx is. A professional, a class act, someone who, even when disrespected, refused to stoop to that level. Back on set, Hoda and Craig were trying to salvage the rest of the show, but everyone knew that nothing else that happened that day would matter. The only thing anyone would remember, the only thing anyone would talk about, was the moment Jamie Foxx stood up for himself and walked away. In the control room, the executive producer was on the phone, his voice urgent and stressed. Damage control was already beginning, but some damage can't be controlled. What started as a routine celebrity interview had become something else entirely. A moment that revealed the thin line between journalism and cruelty, between asking hard questions and launching personal attacks, between holding someone accountable and simply trying to humiliate them. And in that moment, when Jamie Foxx decided he had heard enough, when he chose his dignity over his movie promotion, when he walked off that set with his head held high, he showed everyone watching what it means to respect yourself even when others won't respect you. The show continued after the commercial break, but the damage was done. Savannah eventually returned to the set, composed and professional on the outside, but the tension was palpable. Every word felt forced. Every smile felt fake. Hoda kept glancing at her co-host, trying to understand what had caused such a dramatic shift in behavior. Craig focused intently on his notes, speaking only when necessary. They made it through the rest of the show, but barely. It felt like hours, though it was only 90 minutes total. Every segment dragged. Every transition felt awkward. The chemistry that usually made the show work was completely gone. When the show finally ended, when the cameras finally stopped rolling, the set cleared quickly. People didn't linger like they usually did. They gathered their things and left, whispering to each other, pulling out their phones to check social media, to see if the moment had already gone viral. It had. Within minutes of Jamie walking off the set, clips were everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Everyone had an opinion, and the vast majority of those opinions sided with Jamie. People praised him for standing up for himself. They criticized Savannah for her aggressive approach. They questioned what had motivated such a hostile interview. They wondered if there was history between them that the audience didn't know about. But at the center of it all was a simple truth. Respect matters. And when you strip someone of their dignity on national television, when you attack their character and their career without provocation, people notice. People care. And people remember. Jamie Foxx walked into that studio expecting a conversation. He walked out having delivered a masterclass in self-respect. He didn't yell. He didn't curse. He didn't throw anything or make a scene. He simply stated his boundaries, explained why they had been crossed, and removed himself from a toxic situation. And that, more than anything else, was what resonated with people. In a world where we're told to just take it, to smile and nod, to never make waves, Jamie Foxx showed that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply walk away. The interview that was supposed to promote a movie became about so much more than that. It became a conversation about how we treat each other, about the responsibility that comes with a platform, about the difference between tough journalism and just being mean. Savannah Guthrie had intended to make a statement with her aggressive questioning. She did. Just not the one she wanted to make. And Jamie Foxx, who just wanted to talk about his film, ended up teaching a lesson about dignity, respect, and knowing your worth. The cameras may have stopped rolling, but the impact of those 42 seconds, of that one dismissive comment that started it all, would echo far beyond that studio, far beyond that morning, far beyond that moment. Because some moments, once they happen, can never be taken back. Some words, once spoken, can never be unheard. And some exits, once made, can never be undone. Jamie Foxx walked off the Today Show set that morning, but he walked off with something far more valuable than any movie promotion could provide. He walked off with his dignity intact.